when I was 14 years old, and I discovered punk rock music and I discovered skateboarding, and I knew I was making a life decision with these things. My dad was like, okay, but you gotta have a plan B. I just kind of knew that like having a plan B meant there was no plan A. I had a lot of interests before I started skating. I had a lot of interests before I got into the music. And I've had a lot of interests since. But I knew that these were the foundational things that led me to myself. The first band I was ever in was called Resistance. And that was 1985. I only played one show with Resistance, and that was in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I think it was autumn of '85. We opened up for Aggression and 7 Seconds. But the problem was, to play that show, I had to sneak out of my house because I was grounded. And I had to run. I ran from Edison, New Jersey, through Highland Park, New Jersey, to New Brunswick, New Jersey, across the Raritan River. And I played the show, I belted out the tunes, and then I ran home. Resistance was like a real deal band. They were really going for it. The guitar player was a bit older than me, and he thought, well, this is problematic. Most of our shows are in clubs that are 21 and over, and that's a problem to begin with, having a 15-year-old singer. And then on top of that, the kid's grounded. I've always told the story that I was kicked out of this band because I skateboarded too much. And that was also one of the other, strikes against me. And they couldn't be holding on to a 15-year-old kid who was, who was skateboard crazy. But it was my first band. I got into skating and I got into punk music simultaneously, and I believed from the very first day that I'd be doing both things for the rest of my life. It took me a while to get another band going. I tried throughout the 90s. I learned to play guitar, I learned to play bass. It was some level of people thinking or saying to me that I needed to stay in my own lane. Like, hey dude, you're a skater. Like, why are you trying to do a band? I was like, well, plenty of skaters have done bands. My lane? I'll decide what my lane is, But nothing worked out. And then at the end of 2001, the Rats started happening. Josh, this is for you. Please put that on your guitar case so we can be inspired by it, or I can be inspired by it. It's
I'm gonna be inspired by it, man.
Chick reference. Spidey.
Putting the band together in Iowa, in Des Moines, where I live, that feels really good to me. It's like a no-brainer for me and Wade to be in a band together. We'd had an eye on Josh for years. We were watching him. We saw him play with his other bands, and we thought so much of him. Really resonated. And so the opportunity to, put a band together was like, hey man, let's call Josh, Jake, I heard he maybe played the drums. I was like, Wade's like, hey, Jake wants to give it a try. I was like, wait a second, bro. Why aren't you in a band? Why are you available? You should be out playing, and I should be like, oh, I wish we could have got Jake. The ensemble we have, I feel really good about. I don't care anything about generations or age or anything like that. My language is musical. The relationship is musical. And so when you were born, what you grew up with, doesn't matter. We're all from the same neighborhood when we get on stage.
Little special treat.
little AC on the drummer's back. It's like a drummer's wet dream right here.
I haven't really been outside the Midwest. Like I've been to Nashville, or I went to Nashville for a gig with my other guitar player Snuffin. I went to G4, which was in Vegas, or Henderson. That was pretty cool. I got to meet all my heroes: Steve Lukather, John Five. That was kind of the thing that I feel kicked off my relationship with Mike initially. I'm pretty stoked. Like, this was one of my favorite bands when I was really into my biking phase. I was listening to Complete Disaster and came up on Shuffle and the Rats, and it kind of blew my mind because Vendetta came on, and I was like, wow, that's really heavy, and I didn't realize Mike had another band. So I feel very blessed to have this opportunity, and that I'm still shitting my Josh pants every day thinking about it.
Putting the Rats back together now seems like the right time. Celebrating the music and the skating together seems like the right time. And then we have this song, The Days, that I wrote about those two things and about how the past doesn't matter and the future doesn't matter. It's only the present that you have. And here we are right now. These are the days. Breathe deep, you know, breathe deep.
It seemed like they just went hand in hand. I mean, the spirit of both things was about expression and individuality. For the first time in my life, I knew who I was, and I knew what I wanted to do with myself. And I knew there'd be no looking back.
We hit the streets, but to run, not looking for trouble. She's having fun, but around here she gets the law. To be young, around here you're guilty by suspicion. We meet out the pattern, parking lots, under the streetlights. After dark, on the skateboards and guitar against gangbangers and police states and holy wars. These are the days.
You're never too old. You're never too old to be who you are.
These are the days. Breathe deep. These are the days, my friends. Breathe deep. These are the days you gotta breathe deep. These are the days. These are the days you